Right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Marketing Gamble. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about kind of the way I manage my time having a business with 4 clients now, a waiting list of 20 people, and doing my geography degree, how I balance the two, because recently it's just been assessment week and I've had loads of things I need to do for clients and also loads of assessments due in. So I've been in the library 24/7, but I'm going to talk about how I kind of structure my time, how I structure the tasks that need doing, because I know I really struggled with that when over this week, but now I know and now I've got a process that has really helped me manage it. But I also know a lot of people in their day-to-day lives struggle with this as well, so I thought it might be valuable if I just shared what I've been doing. As you can see, changing the background slightly, it's still the same uni room that I'm in. It's just I've thought you might be a bit sick of seeing the bed, so I changed it around. Got my curtains here instead. Got a few of my books. Still reading the 48 Laws of Power, which is a great book, by the way. Really cool because quite a little bit dark, but cool book to read. And then obviously I've got like my favourite few here, which is the Russell Brunson trilogy, the Alex Hormozy books, Influence and Diary of a CEO. I love them all. They're all really cool. So if you're starting a business or something, highly recommend going. Basically, just read all those books there. They're good enough. They're good enough. They'll give you everything you need to know. So yeah, what have I been doing over the last couple of weeks? The last couple of weeks has been assessment week at uni. So I've had 2 essays that I needed to hand in, but also I've had a funnel that I've had to build for a client. I've had to record Facebook ads by going to a client. I've had to change the whole copy on the landing page. I've had to manage some ads. So I've had a lot of stuff going on, which is why usually I just do a rundown of how the business has been going and then I talk about some sort of marketing strategy. But I thought for this episode, I'm just going to talk about how I have managed this really busy week. And hopefully you guys can get some value, get some nuggets from it. So yeah, I'll give you context. So I'm doing my geography degree. I had 2 essays due, and I had a 2,500 word essay, and I had to go away and research 2 countries for that and talk about earthquakes and things. I had another essay and I had another. Well, technically there were 2 essays, but it was 1 essay for 2,000 words. So I had 4,500 words to write, and rather stupidly, I gave myself like 4 weeks to do it because all my work is always on my business. And then with my business stuff, I had a client who I had to go to their offices and film some video Facebook ads ready for their funnel to go live. And it was a really busy week because as well as that, I wanted to carry on going to the gym. It was also my girlfriend's 21st birthday, and so it was really busy 2 weeks. And it was actually a little bit stressful. It was really hard to sort of balance everything, but I did it, and I thought I would go through what I did because I have mentors, and I spoke to my mentor about it, saying I was really struggling with how to manage his time. And I asked him, like, when you were running your business, which was a big business, how on earth did you prioritize tasks? Because that's what I was struggling with. I realized that my biggest problem wasn't doing the work, it was prioritizing the work. Because on top of doing the Facebook ads things, I still have to, manage the Google ads for clients, answer their questions, meet them every week to talk about what their funnel's been doing and things like that. So there are still things I have to do and stay on top of. But I realized that I had a prioritization problem after speaking to him. So here's sort of the process I go through now. To give you a sort of example. So as an example, I'll use my dissertation that I've got to write. My dissertation is due in May, but in terms of important things, the dissertation is quite an important thing because it's like what my whole degree is based on. And if I don't do that well, then my degree does not go well. So it's quite important. And another important thing is making sure that I get really good results for clients because they're my clients, they've paid me, they're my biggest priority in my business. And then the other priority is that I maintain posting content on social media so I can get more business. They're like my 3 main priorities. So when I spoke to my mentor, he said that what you need to do is you need to look at which ones are most time critical and which ones are the most sort of important. Like if you didn't do it, it would have the worst effects. So the dissertation is time critical because I've got to get it done by May. It's a massive project. And if I don't get it done, it has pretty bad effects. The second one is getting my clients' funnels ready, because if I don't do it, they have paid me for me to set up the funnels. So they won't be very happy, and that's not very good for my business. And it is time critical because I give myself about 3 weeks to do it. So they're the two most important things. And then the social media things, they're not necessarily time critical. I can weave them in between in times that I have. So how do I do it? So this is you sort of what I do is I reverse engineer the tasks that I've got to do. So for example, dissertation's due in May. It's something like the 17th of May, and it's 8,000 words I've got to write. So 8,000 words, I'm now in January, so that's February, March, April. So I've got 3 whole months. Technically it's 4 months. Let's just say it's 4 months. So 4 months, that's about 2,500 words well, no, because that's 10,000 words. I can't do maths. It's 2,000 words every single month is what I've got to write in order to get that done. And that involves that I also need to research. So what I've done is I have blocked out on Monday mornings 5 hours where I just spend doing my dissertation. No matter what work's going on, those 5 hours are dissertation work, because that's a priority and I have to make sure that gets done. So those 5 hours on a Monday morning is just when I do dissertation work, and I stick to that. And and I've worked out that if I stick to that and I do the 5 hours, by the time I get to May, my dissertation will be done. Then with the client work, say their deadline is a week away, what I do is I would have a look at, I would write down a piece of paper, what are the jobs that need to get done, then which one's the most time consuming, and I would do that one first. So I might have dissertations 5 hours on a Monday, then I might go and have lunch, and then after, I'll start that task. I'll start the biggest task that's most time critical for my client. I'll do that task, and then that'll be the first thing that I get. And then I'll do that and I'll allocate that in. And then in little hours in between, I'll record my content. So the time is now, what's the time? 6:30 at night. And the reason I'm doing the podcast at 6:30 is because that's the little bit of time I've got to film my podcast. So I'm doing it now. And yeah, that's basically, so the way I do it is sort of look forward and reverse engineer it into what I'm doing, into ways I can split it down into times to do it and prioritise the tasks that are most time critical and have a deadline, and if I don't do them, have the worst effects. But then when it comes to actually doing the work, something I've also noticed is that I get the most done when I start at night, like between the hours of 9 to 1. 9 to 1 p.m. is when I'm the most productive. It doesn't matter how much sleep I've got. It doesn't matter what I've eaten or what I've done during the day. It's just 9 to 1 is when I'm the most productive. It's when because I feel the most focused, when I can get the most done. So what my mentor said to me is if you start your day and you write down the jobs you have to do, which I always have done, it's like write a to-do of the day, you'll notice that you'll write down jobs, and so one might be write Facebook copy for client, then write 100 words of my essay. And then another job might be check Google ads are converting, respond to LinkedIn comments. What you'll do naturally is you'll look and you'll just do the easiest ones first, like respond to LinkedIn comments, easy. Google ads, that's easier than writing copy, it's easier than doing the essay. So you'll do all the easy ones first. And then normally what happens is you spend a lot of time doing the easy ones without realising it, and then you don't have enough time to do the big ones at the end, and then you never do them. But what he said to do is take the task that is most difficult, that you can't stand doing. So for me, that is my dissertation. I really don't enjoy writing my dissertation in comparison to doing business work. So what I do is on a Monday morning, when I'm feeling most productive, 9 till 1, I do the dissertation work, because if I left it till after and I did the business work first, when I finish feeling the most productive, there'd be very, very slim chance of me then starting my dissertation stuff. So that's what I'm doing going forward. So to sort of recap, because I know I've been kind of waffling a little bit, is my biggest problem I've had in the last 2 weeks with all the stuff I've been doing is a prioritization problem. And what I was doing is I was doing a lot of the small tasks that weren't that important first, rather than doing the big important things like writing my essays and doing work for client. So now what I'm doing going forward is I'm making sure that the things that I do are the ones that are time sensitive, and if I don't do them, have the worst effects. So my dissertation and work for clients, they're the jobs I always do first, and I do them in the times of the day I feel most productive. So for me, that's 9 till 1. And now I also block out them in my calendar where I can't do anything in. So Monday morning, 9 till 1. That is a block in my calendar. No one can book meetings with me. I can't do anything else in that time. Whatever I want to do, I can sit there and I can look at my laptop and go, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do anything, which is fine. But I can't do anything else. I can sit there and not do anything, or I can do my dissertation. And what normally happens is I get bored and I just do my dissertation because it's the most interesting thing than staring at the wall. And yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. And then to stay focused as well, this is just a little tip that I'll throw in. I've also completely switched my phone off during these times of deep focus work. Completely switch it off, put it in my bag, put it out of sight. Because I've noticed that the first thing I ever did is I put it on airplane mode and do not disturb and put it on my desk, which means that it wouldn't alert me, so I wouldn't pick it up. But in times when I've found a really difficult paragraph to write or something, I just pick up my phone and then I turn off airplane mode, do not disturb, to ask one of my friends a question or something about the essay. And then, have you started this section yet? Do you find that a bit hard? And then I just start scrolling on Instagram before I knew it. And then, so I blocked out that so I had that problem with the airplane mode and the do not disturb. So then I decided, right, I'll completely switch it off. So I completely switched it off and I left it off on the desk. And then, sure enough, when I hit a hard point in the essay, I start messaging one of my friends. I'm finding this essay that I'm doing really hard. One of the essays you've done for, I know you're doing a different course than me, but whatever. Can you help me with that? And before I know it, I'm then scrolling on social media again. So now it's got to the point where I turn it off and I put it in my bag, because when I find a hard point, I can't see my phone, so it doesn't for some reason it just doesn't register. So if I'm struggling, I'm now and then I actually start thinking about it, and then normally it's just it's a little uncomfortable, but then I get over it, and then I can carry on working. And so yeah, that's kind of just a little update where I am, how I kind of prioritise my tasks, how I make sure I get everything I need to get done whilst I'm at uni and whilst I'm with my business. And that's also how I make sure I stay focused and get things done. I am in the library a lot. It's where I spend pretty much every day, all my time. But I like it. So that's that. If you have any questions, be sure to just put them in the comments if you have anything about other things I do to stay productive. And by no means am I this productivity machine who just doesn't do it, just is always hyper focused, gets so much done. Of course I get distracted. There are times when I get distracted, I don't get work done. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to kind of say the things I do to make so I can get the things that I need to get done. Yeah. And as always, thank you very much for listening / watching, and I will see you in next week's episode, which is really cool actually, because next week's episode is a guest episode with a guy called Jamie Leckie. I think that's how you say his surname. But Jamie's really nice. He's a Google Ads specialist, Google Ads expert. He works for some digital marketing agencies, and he sort of coaches me every now and then on Google Ads stuff, and I'm really excited to speak to him on the podcast, because we're going to talk about everything Google Ads, which I'm sure will be very valuable. So yes, see you in next week's episode. Thank you very much.